Welcome to A Chat with Heart podcast. I'm your host, Christina Martin. I'm here to guide us on this journey of heartfelt and uncensored conversations with friends I've met while touring my music in Europe and across North America, and people who have life experience that I genuinely believe we can all learn from. Our personal stories have great power to heal, influence, and inspire. All we have to do is show up for the conversation. If we just talk about it, we could shine a light, we could break a dark day. If we just talk about it, we can cut away, we can make a brighter day. Hey. Hi, Heartbeat listeners. I never know when the season officially starts and ends. I'm not talking about like a new season on Netflix. I'm talking about, the seasons of the year. At the time of this recording, it definitely feels officially like spring here in Atlantic Canada. How can I tell? Because we have both hot and cold days now. It's raining more instead of snowing more. Things are green again instead of gray and brown colored. It smells lovely outside. This is how I know it's spring. There is color all around our house. Orange, yellow, purple, tulips. I didn't even plant them. I have no idea who put them there. When the tulips come out, you know it's definitely spring here. And there's a feeling too, like a refreshed vibe I'm picking up. Or maybe I'm putting it out, maybe both. We just finished a May virtual concert. You can watch the replay on my website, www.christinamartin.net. Just look for the replay page. I keep all my replays of my online events there, and I started using Crowdcast, this great streaming platform for my online events during the pandemic. I love it. But I've packed up most of my live streaming gear now because we have some, I can't believe I'm about to say this, in-person shows coming up. Check out where I'm playing anytime on my website, christinamartin.net. I sure am plugging the website about a lot here. My guest today is super cool. Burry is a singer-songwriter based in Nova Scotia who has dealt with subjects such as mental health and being openly queer in the music industry. They strive to use their platform to amplify voices of marginalized communities in and out of the music industry. This is a great episode. Enjoy getting to know Burry and all the things we have in common. Welcome to the podcast, Burry.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
It's been a while since I've wanted you to be on here, and I was really excited that you said yes. The first thing I want to say, other than welcome to the podcast, is congratulations on your Rising Star Recording of the Year nomination for the 2022 ECMAs.
Thank you.
What does that mean to you at this point in your career?
Honestly, I forgot that I had nominated myself. And then, so I didn't at all expect it because that's a half a year ago. My brain doesn't work like that. So I didn't expect it. And I found out because I had 10 texts from the Music Nova Scotia staff being like, congratulations. And I was like, thank you for what? And I had no idea what anyone was talking about, but it's honestly so cool. It's such an honor.
It is cool because everyone has to nominate themselves first and do that thing, that part of it.
Yeah.
But that's not enough. There is a jury of, colleagues in the music industry that really look into what's going on in your career and make the call of whether you're nominated. And then it's up to, your peers to then make the final call. But either way, it's great. It's really,
so cool. Yeah.
And it's I know for my own career, I know people have mixed opinions about awards, but I've always seen it as a really great opportunity to just express your gratitude for everything that's happened and rethink, okay, what do I want to do moving forward as I'm going to be maybe talking to other people at the ECMAs. And then if you do get to win, then it's a chance to thank anybody in your journey or it's just a chance to kind of make statement about what is the most important, thing to you. So there's And there's some people who just think it's like a bogus and like a popularity contest, but I don't know. That's like, I just think that's one way of thinking about it. But that's usually the people who don't nominate themselves and go through the process.
I might have in the past thought it was a popularity contest because I was like, it's always the same people, but like I'm not popular, so I proved myself wrong.
I mean, in part it is a popularity contest, and when your music is popular and when you connect with people, you still have to get the votes. And I think the thing about it is like it isn't always about the best album, because there are a lot of great albums out there. We know that. We have friends who don't get nominated or don't nominate themselves, don't ever get nominated for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But there's no denying that the award ceremonies and the opportunities to showcase and, attend music conferences. Like I believe I officially met you in an ECMA Zoom meeting.
Zoom meeting.
And you were on my radar because I had seen posts that you were making online. This is the other thing I wanted to bring up, was how I find emerging artists like yourself now are so much farther ahead in like having their shit together, having their branding and their social media like really like on fire, and really smart marketing. Like when I was starting out, I had no clue, and it like very pathetic presence, like some cringeworthy. It's fine, like sometimes you have to go through all that stuff, but like coming out of the gate, emerging artists are just super strong material, music videos, social media. That's what I was drawn to with your work. And then you were in this meeting, and then I was like, Burry's giving off a cool vibe.
Literally sent you a private chat after our like Zoom meet. I was like, hello, can you be my friend? And you were like, yes, let's go to the park tomorrow. Right.
Yeah. We were paying attention in the meeting, I'm sure, at points, but yeah, that was cool. And then we went to the park, and that was fun. So
you brought me a coffee. That was great.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think it's fair if I'm drinking a fancy coffee to not offer that to the person that I'm hanging out with. It's
right.
That was a really nice day too. The sun was shining.
Dale was there.
Your dog was there.
My dog.
Your dog is here with us now.
She's here with us in a beanbag chair.
What is her name again?
Alice.
Hey, Alice.
Hey, Alice.
Hey, Alice.
Her Instagram is Barkingham Alice, like Buckingham Palace.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
I have stood outside Buckingham Palace.
I have once.
Oh, you did? Yeah?
Yeah. I lived in England for 4 months.
Why?
I just felt like it. I got a job. I think it's illegal, but it's called Workaway, and you just trade your manual labor for like board and food.
You heard it here, folks. Workaway is illegal? Is it?
Is it? I think so. You don't have a work visa. I don't know. I think it's very blurry lines.
We can edit this out too. Yeah. If you don't worry, we'll just edit this out. But I love your answer, because people have asked me that before when I went somewhere. And what did you just said, because I felt like it? That's the best answer anyone's ever given me.
Why would anyone else go on vacation? Because you feel like it.
Yeah, I felt like
I graduated university, and I was like, well, now what? And I've always wanted to go to England. So I got a job working with a family outside Oxford. And they had 3 horses, 4 dogs, a bunch of chickens, and 3 kids. And I was just like their kind of live-in nanny helper. And I helped train the horses. And they lived in the same village as David Beckham's summer home is in. So that was cool.
I didn't know you had, did you have an equestrian background?
Yeah.
You're shitting me.
Girl.
Are you shitting me? Samesies.
I grew up just riding horses and ponies. I was a counselor at a horse camp in the summers. I had my own horse until 2 years ago. Yeah.
Very. I did not know this. I'm amazed. So I used to do dressage, show jumping, not hardcore, but in the summers when I was a teenager. That's great. We have that in common. And so
my mom trained for the Olympics in dressage.
That's incredible.
She never went because her horse got injured, but yeah.
Oh my goodness. So would you and I, like, do you want to go on a riding date sometime?
Trail ride? Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it.
I have riding boots and a tire and helmet. And we do need our helmets. I guess that's a thing.
Probably. I don't think I have any of that stuff anymore because my parents have divorced and moved so many times. I can't imagine I have any riding gear left, but we'll
That's-
make it work.
In any case, I want to hear about your musical journey. Now I'm wondering about other similarities in our history because for a large chunk of my youth, I wasn't really doing music or anything.
No.
So tell me how it started for you. Like, what does that trajectory look like?
Musically, I started in like elementary school, those dumb like mandatory recorder and guitar classes. I actually joined guitar club because I thought that was super cool. And then once I hit like junior high, I went to private school. I went to King's Edgehill School. So there was music class. I don't know, that might be in public schools too, but you got to pick out an instrument and that was just your instrument for the year. And I picked clarinet. So I'm actually quite savvy at the clarinet. I've been playing since I was 10.
If I ever need
You,
clarinet on an album, I had clarinet on my first album.
I still have my clarinet. I'm pretty rusty. I haven't played in a while, but I was very good. I was the lead clarinet in our concert band and our jazz band. And I played in the pit band for like cabaret and all these other musicals. I'm a clarinet protege, and then I just didn't do anything with it. Then I went to university for a biology degree, so didn't play much music there. Got my degree, played varsity rugby along the way. And then that's when I was like, I'm going to go to England. This will be fun. And I did that. And while I was in England, they had this really, really nice piano in their home. And they went on vacation to Italy and left me with their 4 dogs and 3 horses and this mansion. And they were like, bye. And I just got to have this giant house and play this giant piano for weeks. And I started writing stuff. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
And I started backpacking, and I met a friend of mine who's in a band from Ireland, Wyvern Lingo, and they went to school and play with Hosier,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And we became whatever.
Murdana, whatever.
Modana, whatever.
Yeah.
But we became really close. And when I came back to Canada, she invited me to visit her in Ireland and spend some time with the band. And they were going on sort of an in Ireland tour at the time. This would have been like 2018. And I was like, yeah, why not? So I flew to Vancouver first to visit my brother, and he had surprised me with a recording session with a producer just to record a cover, just to see if I like the industry and the vibe. So I recorded a cover with this producer in Vancouver, and it was a blast. I had fun. And then I went to Ireland and I went on tour with my friend and her band. Just as like a roadie, I worked merch for free hotel and food. And I was like, well, this is the life. This is where I'd like to be. So that's how it all started. I sat in a pub in Galway and wrote For a Sad Soul, my first single.
That's not long ago.
That was 2018. That was not very long ago that I was like, wait, I like this.
This sounds like you, I mean, the music lessons in school, definitely awesome, but it does sound like you have natural abilities for a lot of things, like as an athlete, musician, songwriter.
Yeah, even my first single I wrote without an instrument. At first, I just sat in a pub and wrote all the lyrics out. And then when I got back to my friend's flat, they live in Burry, which is just outside Dublin. She had an extra guitar that she put in the spare room that I was staying in and an amp. And that was my first time touching an electric guitar. And I just sat there and like tried to figure out some chords, and I wrote For a Sad Soul.
It almost sounds like, honestly, it wasn't something you were desperately trying to pursue, but that the places you were open and traveling and
the people.
Yeah,
really.
Right. Like of course there was a piano in the place that you were left alone in, and you had the time and space to just mess around, and then you had a friend who like one thing leading, like, this is pretty organic.
It just very like fell into my lap, and I was like, well, I never considered that, because my plan after backpacking and traveling was to come back and like try and find a job in the biology field. And I was actually super into I had a 4th year bio course. It was ornithology, the study of birds.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it so much. I was like considering doing my thesis and my honors like in birds with that professor, but I was then music happened, and here I am.
So do you still, would you consider yourself a birder now?
No, I was never a birder. I just did the class and I was like, this is super interesting and I'm good at it. But no.
Like a lot of things. You're
I
good at it.
guess. I guess so. I'm just naturally super talented and pretty. It's fine.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You know, some of us had to work a little harder, but that's okay. I pulled a quote from one of your songs, from Figs and Apricots. Great expectations lead to great depressions. Hey, that resonated with me. The hell?
I wrote that line because one of my favorite books is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. But I find just that line is, if like, I just get so stressed and like I set these huge expectations for myself, and then when I don't meet them, I'm really hard on myself and I'm mean, and then I get down in this rut, and I just like, that's like enough of that. No more great expectations, and then there'll be none of these big lows. If I'm just like, whatever happens, and if it's good, I'm stoked about it, then that's great. And also that song's about booty calls. So it's mostly about like other people not getting their expectations up about me either.
You know,
like, I don't want people to set expectations for me to meet for them.
Right. In relationships.
And honestly could be used for like family member relationships and platonic relationships. And just at any point, I don't want other people saying how I should be or what goals I should be meeting at certain times.
That makes sense. I totally relate to setting super high expectations for myself. And like, there have been times when I've, you know, anytime I do that, I see the benefits of it. I even if I don't achieve that thing exactly like I'd envisioned, I get a little bit closer, you know, and but in the process, like, it feels like torture. I'm torturing myself.
Yeah.
Possibly others. But I actually try really hard not to torture anybody else, mostly torturing myself. Want everyone else to enjoy the ride. And it's all like mostly internal, and other than Dale, no one else really knows what's going on. And there are days when I say, I don't know why I set these goals for myself, but I do it on days where I feel like I can do it and I'm excited about it. I genuinely want to. All the reasons are there. But then once it's like, go, I can't help it. I do get stressed and worried and about disappointing mostly myself, I guess, because no one else seems to be keeping track or disappointed in me. So why?
But even like in your brain, you might be like, oh, Dale's going to be so disappointed. And Dale's like, what? No. But like, you're setting what you think his expectations are for you, or other people's. Like in your brain, you're like, they're going to be so upset with me. But they're definitely not.
Absolutely. I really am a firm believer that nothing, maybe you can challenge us, nothing great is ever achieved without like some kind of a strain, burden, hardship. I mean, or just hard work, you know, like.
Yeah.
But then I do think of those times in my life where everything seemed kind of easy and I wasn't really trying and I was young, and, you know, kind of what you described, how you got into music, and but you had to make decisions to get you to the places you were at that were probably not super easy decisions.
No, I guess just like, you still obviously have to work really hard and like have goals, but you can't just like beat yourself up if you don't reach. And like, you have to remind yourself that like, not everybody is going to get the $50,000 like recording grant. Like, just, if there's only a certain amount of funding to go around, there's only a certain amount of showcasing slots to go around. Like, I'm super bummed I don't get to showcase at the East Coast Music Awards this year, but the happy side of that is I got nominated for an award, and that's super cool, and I still get to go. Like, there's like, I was really beating myself up about not getting a showcase, and then I was like, well, why am I being such a negative Nelly about this? I just got nominated for an award, which again, not everyone can do, and not everyone can showcase. So it's like picking and choosing what you're going to be upset about and excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to talk a bit about COVID and touring and not being able to tour. My entire career was slowly, and still needs to slowly, build off of live touring, in person, performing, contact, one fan at a time, super slow. You know, stick around is the goal, not, huge spikes in my career, anything like that. And, COVID made that not possible for emerging artists. And so what's it been like for you? Like, has it really fucked things up, or are there just so many silver linings to it, to this time, to this pandemic for your career in music?
I mean, I never really got the opportunity to tour before because I started music so late in the game. Like, I played locally and sort of got my foot in the door, and I got to showcase at Music Week before COVID hit. And then it hit, but I just like I don't even know what I'm missing, I guess is the point. I've never toured. I have no idea. I'm sure it's great and I'm sure it's awesome for receiving fans and like making money and stuff, but I don't even know what I'm missing. I'm just that naive about it. But I've spent a lot of COVID focusing on my social media platforms, which in turn has been growing a fan base. Like, I would not have got TikTok if I got TikTok because COVID hit. I got TikTok because I was sitting in my room during the first lockdown being like, well, what do I do now? And downloaded it. And now I have almost 14,000 followers. Like,
Wow.
It's just like, I guess I focused a lot of energy on sort of growing a fan base first without music. And then I'm like, I play music. And they're like, that's neat.
Yeah.
Bonus, I'll buy one CD now.
Right. Yeah. But they will come to shows.
They will. And they're all over the world too, which is great because like now my Spotify numbers will be like, my top city's Denver. I've never been there. I don't know who's there.
Check it out. Yeah.
Like my top two cities, I think, are like Rochester, New York, and Denver, Colorado. Like,
then you need to go to those places.
Those two cities, right?
Those two cities. Absolutely. Why not? Like, that can be a reason. The thing about the music industry is you can make a reason to go anywhere and make it work for you.
Even doing like TikTok lives, once you hit 1,000 followers, you can do lives. And over the lockdowns, I would do a live almost every night of me just playing covers or originals. And people that really enjoyed them would be like, follow me and ask me about my music. And then I'm like, I have Spotify, here's my merch. Like, just kind of pushing them or more organically than being like, come to my show. Like, they just found me. And if they liked me, they stayed.
I'm kind of envious because you've really established this is like when I was starting out, it was just the complete opposite, where you had to tour and play so much, and then social media wasn't even really a thing. And then by the time we were told you need to get social media platforms, like you need to develop your fan base on MySpace and all these different places that kept changing and then shutting down, and it just seemed like you were expelling so much energy in all these places online, but not really. But then by the time you were, feeling comfortable with one platform, it was just dead. It wasn't popular.
I know. I'm worried that's going to happen with TikTok. But then again, like, it has its issues. I find it like is really good at filtering certain creators. Like, they filter sort of queer topics. And like, I've noticed a lot of Black creators and Indigenous creators say that it's kind of filtering out their videos that are talking about issues. Like, it's very like pick and choose what deems important, which is obviously can be super problematic. So that's like a big downfall of it. But again, it's so popular that it's just, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm a firm believer. Like, if you find something you love and it's working, just ride that wave. And then at some point, right, you could ask your followers on that platform to go to the next thing. Say, well, this is shutting down, follow me over here. But I remember being on tour and having to do social media, and it just changed everything. It was so stressful. Like, I just wasn't used to it. And I had to get to a point where, how do I make this fun for myself and not like, this is ridiculous, because I have to obviously have joy in my day, and I want at the end of my day when I'm performing, I have to be in a good mood. My fans are gonna notice that I'm turned into a crabby, miserable person.
That's what I was doing with TikTok mostly. The videos I post aren't ever really music related. Like, it's me just being goofy or being like, look at my new shirt, and everyone's like, yay. And then I'm like, oh, I also have music. And then the people that care now follow me on Instagram and Bandcamp and buy my CD and whatever.
Yeah, it's smart.
But most of my content is just me being me. And people are like, that's weird.
That's where I thought maybe you had like a marketing background, not a biology background. But
No, I'm just weird and people like that, I guess.
I'm weird too. So
Yes, you are. That's why we were fast friends.
thank you. Thank you. It's time for a Fluster break. I want to thank those of you listening who have purchased the game Fluster online at www.flustergame.com and used my promo code to save 15%. The promo code is Christina15. Yeah, I really hope you're enjoying the game with your friends at home, and I hope that you are enjoying these Fluster conversation breaks with my guests. What did your 13-year-old self think you'd be doing at the age you are now?
Oof, 13. What was I doing? So I skipped 2 grades. 13, I would have been grade 9.
What?
Grade
Because
9.
you were so smart?
I think I thought I was going to be in musical theater.
Really?
Yeah. I was in all of the musicals and like the pit bands, and I worked with the lighting crew. Like I was so into musical theater, backstage, anything.
Well, I mean, it's not too late.
It truly isn't.
I thought I would be an equestrian.
Yeah, I never thought that could be a job. Like my 13-year-old self was like, a horse is a pet. Like I didn't think that could be a job. So that's probably why I didn't think that.
I thought that there was money in like training, coaching.
Oh yeah.
Maybe winning.
I mean, there is.
There is. That's true. Yeah. Okay.
If I remember my parents complaining about anything that was too expensive, it was my riding coach.
Yeah.
So
money well spent, though.
Yep.
Okay, here's another one. What do you think is the scariest aspect of dying?
I personally think it's going to be the pain. Like, I'm scared of pain. So I think, like, no matter how you die, it's going to be painful. Dying in your sleep, I guess. But any other way of dying, like, is going to be painful. Whether it's, like, immediate pain or, like, a long, slow pain, it's going to be pain.
There are some good drugs out there that might help in that, relieve some of that.
Yeah, maybe.
If not
but
all.
if I like died in a fire or a car accident or drowned or like all these things, like that's gonna be painful.
Yeah, I agree.
It's gonna suck.
Fire.
Dementia, that's painful emotionally, and it's painful for your loved ones. You can't go through death without pain.
That's what I'm most scared about is my loved ones just their suffering.
Yeah. I want my funeral to be like a big party, like all my money and everyone go to like Six Flags or something.
Six Flags.
Just take my money.
I can organize it. I don't want you to die, but I'm actually kind of excited about planning this.
If I wound up murdered, it was Christina, everybody.
No! Let's chat gender.
Yeah, I don't have one.
Well then, that's it for today's episode of No, when I asked you what you were passionate about, you said you were really passionate about being openly non-binary. You said even if that means ruining relationships with people who are transphobic and homophobic. Has it?
Yes. I don't talk to my mom anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. She was pretty uncomfortable when I changed my name and pronouns, and she, like, obviously when I told her, she was pretty defensive about it, making it about her. And then I gave her like 6 months to even just try to use my new name and pronouns, and she didn't really. She kind of did over Christmas when my brother was there, because he would like step in and correct her and stuff. But then, we just had to blow up a couple weeks ago about how it just made her uncomfortable, and I need to accept her for who she is, being uncomfortable about it. But that was just her asking me to accept her for being transphobic, which I do not. Just like I would not accept someone if they're like, you just have to accept that I'm racist. Like, no, I don't, and I don't like you, and now we're not friends. Yeah, it was for my mental health to just be like, I'm done until you can figure it out.
I think there's always a chance that people need time and things could change, and they may not. And we were talking about expectations earlier, because I've had to learn this in my own life and in my relationship, and even in my relationship with my own mother, one of the biggest things is having to let go of the expectation that it's really, really hard that somebody else is going to, change and become this idyllic like person that you would hope that they would be like.
Yeah, and it's I mean, my partner was like there when the bigger conversation happened, and I will always be open for this conversation around gender, but until you're ready to have a constructive conversation about it, I need to just take a step back.
Yeah, it's big though. When did this journey with gender start for you? Or when did the awareness start?
The awareness started 2 or 3 years ago. I remember my ex-partner at the time, I was talking to her and I was like, isn't it crazy that just like we all have boobs and no one wants boobs? Like we all hate our boobs, right? She was like,
yeah,
no, I like my boobs. And I was like, you
I
don't
like
wish
mine.
you didn't. Well, there, so maybe you're non-binary. We don't know.
Well, we'll chat about that in a second.
But I was like, I just hate them. Like I hate so many things about the body that I'm given, and not like in terms of like size or anything, just like body parts that I have that I wish I didn't, or body parts that other people have that I wish I had. And she was like, that's not a thought I've ever had. And I was like, oh God. So we like did some research on gender and stuff and talked about it, and that's how I figured it out. I always knew I liked girls. I think I stifled that for a while, like in terms of sexuality, but there's so little education about gender that I was like, I have these parts, I must be this, and that's all I knew. And I was like, it's crazy that we just like all hate having these parts, because there was just no education anywhere in my childhood about gender.
Growing up, it was boy, girl. Like
it was pink, blue. You like pink or you like blue? You like dinosaurs or you like Barbies? You pick. You have vagina, you have to wear pink.
That's right.
Like that was it.
Yeah, and if you were anywhere in the middle, like you stood out, and you were either, it was made obvious to you that you were not one or the other, and why, and the questioning, and sometimes the bullying. Did you ever experience that growing up?
Not really. Not like I was obviously bullied, but not for that reason. My parents made me fit the gender roles so much that I just did. Like I had to wear dresses every day in elementary school. And then I went to private school, so we all had to wear uniforms. And so I just like was so overcompensating for fitting into these gender roles that I definitely was never bullied for like being different or appearing like I wasn't a certain way. But yeah, until I hit university, and then people were like, I have a good gaydar and you seem gay. And I was like, well, that's fair. I think I am. You're probably right.
So what made you land on non-binary? Because there are so many terms out there now. Some of the other terms that I've come across when I was reading about non-binary, because I have thought about it, questioned it. I remember, some of the terms that have come up of like agender, bigender,
gender
I guess
fluid.
non-gender would be was that hard to come, or were you just like, no, this one just feels right?
I did like you did some research, read about all of them. Non-binary felt like it fit the most. I still often like do feel gender fluid. Like some days I'm like, I feel like a boy today, and then some days I do be like, oh, I'm feeling so feminine today. Like it's so that's like why I feel like gender fluid could also fit. I just know I don't fit in the gender binary, so I would never be offended by being called anything like these other terms for genders. I would relate to any of them, really.
I've only recently come around to understanding a little bit about gender being like a process, like not like you just said, some days I feel more like a boy, some days I might feel, more like a girl.
Like a girl, yeah.
And I have thought a lot about this over the course of my life, and I've even said for years and years, like, I don't really, like, I love playing dress up. I love dressing up for a show, and I always, it's more feminine, my look. When I've had this conversation with friends, especially guy friends, oftentimes they're like, what? Like, you're a woman, like, full on, like, and I'm like, well, yeah, I dress up because I like playing dress up.
Play the part, right?
Definitely play the part. But I've internally, I've always just sort of been like, I don't either or. Like,
I don't care
I
either.
don't care. I don't, but I just never really understood that whole, like, really feeling like, or
Yeah.
identifying 100 wholeheartedly.
As one
And
or the other,
yeah, and
or neither.
yeah, and I can relate to, like, not being like, oh, this is these parts that I was born with, and the sex that I'm like. There's some things about it that are really annoying to me. The
Yeah.
boobs can be really annoying.
Boobs are the worst.
Sometimes I like to dress them up. I've got some cool bras and stuff with bedazzled. But for the most part, like, they can complicate things, and I don't know. But growing up, were there times, like, in school or anything where your gender was questioned? Like,
No, not until, like, now. Like, since I came out as non-binary, now people are like, you can't be non-binary, you have long hair. Like, you can't be non-binary, you have boobs. Like, just the way people take physical appearance and then put you in a box based on that
right.
is crazy to me. Like, I look at someone and I can't assume their gender ever, even if you were wearing one of your fun bras and wearing all pink and had glitter in your hair. Like, no one can assume that you're a girl based on that. Like, on what premise would they say you're a girl just because you're wearing, is pink a girl? Like, anyone can wear, you know what I mean? Like, having long hair, having boobs. I know men that have boobs. Like, that's why it's, like, tough. I find, like, being misgendered a lot. Like, even just at restaurants, just trying to have dinner with my partner, and they're like, hello ladies, just because of what? I don't even think I look like a girl half the time.
I wonder how long it's going to take before more people, like majority of the population, one of the first things that we stop making a decision about when we meet someone is, are they
your gender?
Right. What gender do they belong to? What, or just even that it's a thing, like, to have to have a question or think about. And I don't know if you still do that. Sometimes I know I still do when I meet people, because it's how I was brought up.
It's super just, like, unlearning that, because I do it too, where I'll be like, that guy's shoes are cool. And then I'll be like, how do I know that they're a guy? Like, you just have to start kind of, all I do is just use they, them pronouns until proven otherwise, because you don't know.
Ooh, that's a good practice.
They, them pronouns until you ask, or until you're corrected, because some people, like, people will just correct you. They'll be like, oh, I use he, him, and there you go.
That's a good tip for creating a more gender non-conforming, friendly world.
Yeah.
Do you have any others? Stop being an asshole.
Yeah, don't be a jerk. I think it's mostly the old, like, not older generations, like, because I'm right between, like, Gen Z and millennial, but, like, millennials and, like, our parents' generations, like, just unlearning. Like, it's not their fault that that's how they were raised, but they need to be open and willing to unlearn what they've been taught about the gender binary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not gendering people, like, in your head. Even if you were to, like, look at your server at a bar, don't gender them. Ask their pronouns, stuff like that. Like, use gender neutral greetings in all situations, because you don't know. Like, even when you're addressing a crowd at a show, like, you can't be like, hey ladies and gentlemen, or hey guys and gals, because you have no idea who's in the crowd and who might not take offense, but just feel excluded from those greetings.
What if I've done this before, as I learned from a host at one of my shows in 2018, ladies and gentlemen and everybody in between? Or is that a problem? Is that okay? Or is that meh?
Or just, like, it's okay. It's like, it's better than just ladies and gentlemen. Like, I find it's better too, then, because people will be like male, female, other, and then just everyone else has to fit into this other category, and that sucks. So, like, everyone in between is good. It's just folks, people,
y'all,
friends.
Y'all
is fun. Bring it back.
I love y'all from my days in Texas. Yeah,
friends, pals, buds. Mike Ryan uses buds, and I love it.
Mike Ryan, who you're doing your
new
EP with.
Yes.
Is it happening now?
So we've got one song recorded, which is awesome. And we're just sort of starting the process of the others.
Congratulations. Very exciting.
Thank you. Yeah. Exciting.
Do you always enjoy the process of recording, or are there any, like, I find it great at times, other times excruciatingly painful.
I find I'm very overly critical of myself. So my band, like they come in and they're just like bling 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 on their instruments. I'm like, you guys are perfect, never change. But then when I get in the studio, I'm like, this is the worst sound I've ever heard. And I'm just so overly critical that it takes so long because I'm like, should I quit music because my voice is horrible? And Mike has to be like, no.
You, Mike, should I quit? No, please, not until at least you're done paying me for this.
Just pay me first.
Yeah, after that, I don't care. Well, I mean, no one's ever really pushed me in terms of like vocals and writing. It's always seems to be good enough for the people that I love, and that's great. So I've had to push myself. So I think it is good, like what you're going for. And also I mean, recording in the studio, we're listening back more intently than ever, right? Because when you're performing,
Yeah.
you can't listen back while you're performing. Everything feels great and in the moment.
Yeah.
But when you listen back, you do hear the things that you want to improve upon, and that is what
Yeah.
makes you, I think, better. And I'm sure there are moments where you're like, no, that was golden. Like,
Sometimes, yeah. Mike does call me the one take wonder in the vocal booth. But then I'm like, I listen back. I'm like, I don't hear what you're hearing, mate. Like, I need to do 5 more takes at least. But he calls me the one take wonder. I don't see what he sees.
well, it's all up to you, is what I say. And I'm
Yeah.
the one usually saying I need to do more as well. Actually,
Yeah.
Dale does pick on certain things and catches things sometimes that I don't. But overall, like,
Yeah.
it's at some point in my career, I think it was probably with my 2015 album where I was like, I need to promise myself I'm going to keep pushing everybody and myself until I'm really happy. Like, this isn't
Yeah.
just everyone seems pleased, but this is
Yeah.
really, it's holding up to the vision, or it's gone somewhere else with one song or another. But I'm just absolutely thrilled. Sometimes in the studio, you're watching, the evolution of your sound happen. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
It is cool. Yeah, Mike is very much like Dale in that sense, where he'll just be like, he'll pick little things that I didn't even pick up, and then I'm picking up things that aren't even there. And he's like, that's not real. But dude, change this here.
Yeah, love it.
And he'll push me to push my vocals more too. I find like I'll always try to just like slip into the falsetto at times, and he's like, nah, belt it, let's go. Like, you can do it better. So
yeah,
very grateful for that.
Well, I'm excited to hear that. Back to gender for a sec.
I love gender.
Good. Do you think it's important for everyone to think about their own gender story? And what are some benefits that you can think of to people just taking time and like?
I just think we were all really raised. I think now the generation that's coming up, what is it, like Gen Alpha or whatever that's coming up now, like they're coming up in such a time where things aren't gendered and people are raising their kids just gender neutral until they've had time to think about it and self-discover. But our generation and your generation and our parents' generation and even some Gen Z generation, like we were all raised that these are the 2 binaries, you fit in them. So like even just sitting down and like reading about it, and you might find that there are things about gender and the binaries that don't fit you, which is something you just wouldn't find out because there's no education, there's no information about these things in schools, or previously hasn't been.
Mm-hmm.
So just sitting with that and learning about it, you might find that, oh yeah, I do fit into the gender binary. Cool for me, I'm still there. But you might be like you, where you're like, strange.
Yeah. Strange. I think thinking about it, well, it helps explain to myself, like helps me understand how I've participated in the world, like why I did what I did at certain times in my life and why I was opposed to doing certain things, or why I even am drawn to certain people and not others. Like, let's say I can remember, disappointing my parents when I didn't want to wear dresses for photos and being really causing a fuss about it. And then just being very sensitive to being made to wear this or that, or follow a certain role as a daughter, or even as a wife, and like just these expectations that are put on you as a girl, as a woman. And
as my partner identifies as woman, she, her pronouns. She and I talk about gender a lot, and she was saying how when she was a kid, she thought she was a boy because she didn't understand that she just like thought she was a boy. She dressed like a boy. She wanted the boy toy at McDonald's. And it wasn't until she hit puberty that she kind of like understood that she wasn't, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Hey, how's that going, by the way?
No, we're great. She moved in with me in January.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. We're just living our best life. Two lesbians and a dog and a cat. And a dream.
Sounds perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Hey, do you have any books that you would recommend our listeners read?
Like about anything?
Oh, yeah.
Or like
about gender or not gender related books.
There was a book about gender that I got my stepmom for Christmas, and I can't remember the name right now, but I just found it in the like LGBTQ section of chapters, and it was written by someone with a PhD in gender studies, and it kind of like not dumbs down gender, but it kind of like makes it more accessible for people that are like, I do not understand what these youths are talking about in this other gender. Like, so it kind of dumbs down gender and how to use pronouns and like kind of all that, but I can't remember the name for the life of me right now.
Wait, is it called Gender Your Guide? Gender Friendly
I think
Primer?
so, yeah.
Okay, here it is, listeners. Yeah. I've got it on my phone, and it is a great book. Gender Your Guide, a gender-friendly primer on what to know, what to say, what to do in the new gender culture, by Lee Ayrton, PhD.
That's the one.
Boom.
We're on the same
page.
In terms of non-educational books, there is a really good book that I just read because my partner lent it to me. It's called One Last Stop. And it's definitely written more for like that like teen kind of like reading level at least, but the story is quite well done, and it's super queer. It's about a bi girl that moves to New York and meets a lesbian that she really likes on the Q train, and it's just so queer. There's drag queens, there's trans people, there's non-binary people. It's just super, just like written as any other book, but it includes other genders, and it's just written like any other rom-com book, but it's not heteronormative, which I love.
Love it. I'll read it. Awesome.
It's super good.
You sold me. Yeah. Oh, my little Heartbeat listeners, call the Heartbeat hotline and let us know if you have any books that you're reading that you want to recommend to our listeners. Listen, this has been great. I don't want to shut it down, but I guess at some point I have to let you continue to live your life without me.
Eat lunch. But we could just hang more outside of the podcast. We could chat more.
Yeah, we can chat more. Is your website, burrymusic.com, the best place, really, the best hub for people to find you?
I think so, yes. All my music's up there. My press kit's there if you need a baby. We got my merch. We got a submission form if you need to contact me.
Did you just say if you need a baby?
If you need to contact me.
I thought you said if you need a baby. I didn't know you were offering this.
If you need a baby, I can't help there. Sorry. Actually,
I was like, whoa, this is a whole other service I didn't know you were offering. But I'm willing to get behind it if you...
if you need me.
Got it. If we need you, burrymusic.com. It is a great website. Watch the videos because they're awesome and they're smart. And TikTok, which I'm not on yet, ever.
TikTok, I am a Burry official on TikTok.
Okay.
Come hang on my TikTok lives and I'll serenade you.
I hope this was a positive experience for you. It was awesome for me.
It was fun. I'd like to catch up with you.
Nothing's going on with me. My career's over.
That's not true.
It could be. Who knows?
Maybe mine is too.
Welcome to the Heartbeat Hotline, 1-902-669-4769. I'm the host of A Chat with Heart podcast, Christina Martin, and I'm so excited you called. Leave me your question, a suggestion for the podcast, or a comment about this episode. Please be aware your message may be used on the podcast and social media. Tell me your name, where you're calling from, and it's also fine if you want to remain anonymous. Thanks for listening. Have a great fucking day. A Chat with Heart. Produced and written by me, Christina Martin. Co-produced and engineered by Dale Murray. Check out Dale's website, dalemurray.ca. The podcast theme song, Talk About It, was written by me and recorded by Dale Murray. You can find it on all the places you stream music. Production plans for this podcast and Season 1 are supported by the Province of Nova Scotia's Women in Business Implementation Fund and the Creative Industries Fund. Special thanks to Terrence Taylor for mentoring me on hosting this podcast and really digging deep with me on my production plans for Season 1, which, let's be honest, Terrence, ended up being more like well-needed psychotherapy for me. To Crystal Seeberger at Sensory Friendly Solutions, thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me learn how to be a more inclusive, accessible, and sensory-friendly human. Visit my Patreon page to become a monthly or yearly supporter of this podcast and my music endeavors. If you're new to Patreon, it's a membership platform that helps creators get paid. Sign up at patreon.com/Christina Martin. For this to be a massive success and reach 7 billion people, I need you to share, rate, leave a review, and subscribe to A Chat with Heart on all the places you listen to podcasts. Wishing you, my little heartbeats, a great day.